This is a fictional mindbender. I've talked before about how Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans was the first Gundam series to really fully commit to the brutal reality of child soldiers, but it wasn't the first to try. I also mentioned how one of the earliest and most interesting attempts at this came from Gundam 00 through its protagonist, Setsuna F. Seiei. Setsuna was the first major break from the classic Gundam teen pilot mold. In the West, especially, Gundam Wing had cemented this stereotype. Pretty boys and giant robots hustling with their feelings while still conveniently appealing to female audiences, as it were. Even the main hero of the show, Hiro Yui, who is clearly not okay, has his trauma overshadowed by Marina Peacecraft, who keeps stalking him, basically, across the world, despite the fact that he's threatened to kill her multiple fucking times.
I'll kill you.
Where's your next mission, Hiro? So even you can be surprised. Ever since I met you, it's been me who keeps getting surprised by you. Hiro, I know too much about you. Are you still gonna kill me?
Yeah. What in the heck am I thinking? I'd be better off if she died, wouldn't I?
I don't know. Anyway, Setsuna starts out looking like he might fit that mold, but from the very beginning, it's obvious that he's not Hiro Yui. Even Iron-Blooded Orphans Mizuzuki August is a lot more of a cold-blooded psychopath than someone wrestling with trauma, if we're honest. Setsuna is emotionally shut down in a way that feels painfully real when it comes to PTSD. He, for the most part, shows almost no emotion, no interest in other things besides the mission of celestial being, no interest in a normal teenage life, and no concept of fun in his vocabulary. His entire identity is wrapped around celestial being, and specifically around Gundam. And that's because he's a child soldier. He had fought in the fictional Middle Eastern nation of Krugis, and it's no coincidence that he's Middle Eastern himself. In real-world conflict zones, it's a tragically common occurrence for boys to be pulled into armed groups and resistance forces as soon as they can hold a gun. Setsuna's past with Ali Al-Sanchez is disturbingly accurate to that reality. What really sets Setsuna apart, though, is how he reacts when that PTSD gets triggered. As I said, for the most part, he's emotionally numb. Even women who show interest in him don't pique his interest, and he shuts them down almost instantly that they try. However, as soon as he discovers that the man who had recruited him into fighting in Krugis, who had turned him into a cold-blooded killer, even killing his own family, is now fighting on the opposite side, causes Setsuna to snap. He breaks Celestial Being's protocol during a raid, reveals himself, and becomes consumed by the need to confirm whether this mysterious pilot is really the man who destroyed his childhood. Ali Al-Sanchez drags Setsuna right back into his Krugis trauma, right back to that young child because of an inspiration from a foreign merc. Setsuna becomes reckless, angry, and laser focused on killing him, and it gets so bad that the other members of Celestial Being have to literally beat him or threaten to kill him if he doesn't stop jeopardizing their mission. and this is why we all love him, none of that gets through to him at all. In fact, he expects to die anyway, so what the fuck does it matter? Setsuna's other trigger is Marina Ismail. And at first it kind of seems like, again, a repeat of the Hiro Yui Marina Peacecraft relationship. However, these two do share a similar bond, both being from war-torn Middle Eastern countries. But somehow Ismail came out of that hellhole as a genuine pacifist, and that triggers Setsuna's inner rage. The inner rage at the sheer ignorance one must have to be blind to the realities that play out around them. the inner rage at how someone can come out of that hellscape and still have some amount of hope. The inner rage that someone like that has the nerve to preach to him after everything that he's been through, that he's done, and that he's lost, infuriates Setsuna and just sets him off. And he hides it really well, but when it goes off, it goes off. And it represents everything that he thinks is impossible, that had been beaten out of him, literally. Hope, idealism, the belief that peace can even exist. To him, this is ignorance. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think at this time during season 1 that he even really believed in celestial beings' goal of no war. Just that he was expecting to die and he wanted to do something that basically was bigger than himself, and that was about it. All that being said though, Marina does succeed where celestial being failed. She actually empathizes with Setsuna without ever abandoning her own worldview. And when that world that she's trying to build collapses around her, exactly as Setsuna had told her, she still believes. And that persistence is what breaks through to him. Setsuna realizes that she's not just some naive princess who talks bullshit. She's someone who has survived her own trauma, that has survived that hell, and genuinely still believes in hope. How is that even possible? I think that's the question that comes to mind for Setsuna. And having said all that, the most interesting part of Setsuna's PTSD arc is how it steadily shows that it's been holding him back. As season 1 progresses, we learn that the pilot meant to evolve to become the special I am the one character, as it were, that's a common trope in the Gundam series, wasn't supposed to be Setsuna. It was supposed to be Lockon Stratus, the calm, level-headed field commander. But Lockon has his own trauma. And when he discovers that the same man who had manipulated Setsuna into killing his family is also the same man who killed his own family in Ireland, Lockon ends up following that same path of vengeance, which is interesting since he is oftentimes the first person to discipline Setsuna for his own crazy outbursts. And it's ironic that he had that same issue, it's just that for the most part, until he found out who El Sechez was, he had a better handle on it. And because he lost his ship, he ends up crippling El Sechez, but he also too dies in the process, with his final words, Setsuna, being become the person I couldn't. And this sets Setsuna not only on the path to real healing from his PTSD, but also moving past it. By the time he reached the Gundam 00 movie, he's no longer the boy who would pull a trigger without hesitation. The boy who was so reckless that he would endanger an entire mission and comrades just to get his vengeance. When Setsuna, during the final battle of the Gundam 00 movie, finally infiltrates the alien construct that Earth is at war with, and has a clear shot to the head, as it were, that would have ended the war instantly, he chooses a different path. And instead of killing it, he uses his new Gundam's abilities to communicate, to find common ground. Setsuna still ends the war, but without more tragedy. But I think we all know, if this was season 1 Setsuna, he would have taken the fucking shot, no questions asked. However, Setsuna has grown past his trauma by this point. He has seen what vengeance can do to people through season 1 and season 2, what it did to Lockon, what it did to others around him who let their past and their insecurities consume them. And he has seen how it has consumed him as well, it's just that he somehow survived. Now, he is choosing a different future because he wants a different future. And that's why in my book, even though Gundam 00 doesn't press really hard into the child soldier situation the way Iron Blooded Orphans does, Setsuna F is still the first Gundam protagonist to truly portray the long and painful struggle of a child soldier dealing with wartime PTSD. He sets that standard for later series like Iron Blooded Orphans to build off on. And That's something that I thought was cool about that character, and that makes Gundam 00, while not my top Gundam series, in my top 3 at the very least. This is a Fictional Mind Bender, and you guys have a good day.